Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Tuesday, the 6th of October, 2015, and this is episode 149, Delayed for Her Birthday. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. My baby, she turned 5 yesterday. Oh, pretty sure I was just in the delivery room with her, like last week. Kids, they grow fast. When you're a kid, everything seems to go by so slowly. And then when you're an adult, I'm sure it's because of the comparative time. It's just, she's so big, like a little human. We went to Target because she wanted Disney Barbies. So we got her Tiana and Aurora. She already had Rapunzel and Cinderella. And I was looking at Belle, but Disney Princess Barbie Belle does not look at all like Belle. She was wearing like a pink and yellow top and a pink and yellow skirt. Belle does not wear pink in that movie. In other movies, she does wear the pink cloak, the pinkish cloak, but the colors that she wears are blue and yellow. What is all the pink? It's not like they threw pink on Tiana. Tiana's in green and yellow. Cinderella does have an optional pink dress you can buy because she does have that pink dress moment that the stepsister shred. Anyway, I'm sure you're super excited about Disney Barbies. So we did that and that was exciting. And then we went to the thrift store, which is my favorite place to shop for things, for clothes. We went to Goodwill. I got a skirt and a pair of pants and a pair of heels, all for me for $10, and then a skirt for Mara and 2 pairs of pants for Gabriel for another $10. It was awesome. Apparently all boys between 4 and 8 wear out their pants before they can outgrow them, because I found 2 pairs of pants for Gabriel, a size 6 and a size 8. The 6 are going to be too short by the end of winter. Hopefully they'll get him to Christmas. We'll see. Lots of shorts, tons of shorts, but no pants. That was the whole point for going to the thrift store. I just happened to find things for myself, as one does. And we had cake. We went to my work and we went to the bakery, and Mara saw this huge pink cake, angel food with sugar frosting. It's similar to the one that I got for Gabriel for his birthday, but his had white frosting with sprinkles on it. And I didn't really like the cake that time, so I was like, we'll get something else. So we got a big cupcake that I basically cut in half for the kids to eat. They didn't like that one. They ate a little bit of it. I don't know if it's because they gorged themselves on pizza first or if they really didn't like the cupcake, but I know that most of that cupcake ended up being thrown away. I don't know. Maybe they're cupcaked out because we have had all that. We had all the cake from Gabriel's party, which lasted over a week period. Not longer than a week, but it lasted a week period. And then we had the party, so there was cookies and frosting from that for about a week. And then Mara's birthday. Maybe they're sugared out. I don't know. I feel a little sugared out. Anyway, knitting podcast. Finisher Frog is going brilliantly. And you know what? We're into the second month and I haven't even told you prize stuff. Mostly because I hadn't 100% solidified prizes. And the only one that I'm 100% sure that is happening is an ebook giftable through Ravelry up to $25. But if there are a lot of entries, there will be more than one prize. That's just the one right now that I know is definitely going to happen. Anything finished between beginning of September and end of November or frogged in that time period, rules are all in the threads, which are linked in show notes. And, the other big thing this week, I will be publishing, at the same time that I publish this podcast, I will be publishing the child tube sock recipe. I know it's a week late. I know, I'm sorry. It's a lot of math. A lot of math involved. But it's finished. I just have the final tweaking things to do today, and then uploading it to Ravelry and all that. So I will hit the publish button on Ravelry for the pattern at the same time I hit the publish button on this for YouTube. So if you're seeing this and you want the paid for pattern with all the numbers, go over there. Onto what I've worked on. So neither of my finished objects are knitting, but I have two. The first should be in the mail, but it's not because I'm a slacker. Also, I had a really busy week. I don't remember why it was busy, but I know that I didn't get a lot of crafting done because I was doing a lot of other things. Anyway, so here is my sister's bag, and it is finished. And again, it doesn't have interfacing, so it doesn't stand up super, super well, but it does stand up better now that I top stitched around all the things. There's the little face. I am thinking of doing a photo tutorial thing in the Finisher Frog chatter thread because I have been asked a couple times how I made it, so I will probably do that sort of thing. And by photo tutorial, I don't mean that I'm going to make another bag because I won't, but I'll do lots of sketches that are pretty well explained, and hopefully that'll work. Maybe I'll make a blog post. I don't know. It's not going to happen by the time this goes up, so give me your opinions on that. I talked about it a lot last week. All I had left to do was top stitching, so now all I have to do is send it off in the mail. Not today. It's already late today. It's almost 2 o'clock, so I'm not going to have my stuff in order in time to get it out today. So Amanda, I'm sorry about that, but maybe tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow seems like a good day. Oh no, tomorrow's not a good day. Random side note. So tomorrow I'm teaching a spinning workshop thing to a bunch of middle schoolers. I think there are 4 or 5 different sessions that I'm assisting in teaching spinning stuff. They're having colonial days. So I have to dress up in a funny costume and then stand around and help people spin. That should be fun. Anyway, finished object number 2, something you didn't see. This is a cat. Does it look like a cat? I hope it looks like a cat. Last night, before I embroidered the face, it had a different tail and it kind of looked like a pig. But I'm hoping it looks like a cat now. So there it is. It's the tail that you can't see very well. And totally improvised the pattern. A friend of mine is turning 21 in about a month, and she asked if I would make her a cat, a stuffed cat, and I asked her if she wanted something realistic or something abstract, and she said something cute and squishy. So I went with this. I improvised the pattern. The limbs are just little bumps made using half double crochets to kind of like a short row would work in knitting. It's just adding more fabric in the same amount of space, kind of. I'm not explaining that very well. But it's mostly done in single crochet except for in the limbs, and there's half double crochet to make the limbs happen. Yeah, so improvised pattern. I think it turned out pretty well. I did actually do a short row right here across the bridge of the nose because I was worried that if I didn't do that, it just wouldn't have any, like a forehead face area for the cat eyes. And I used the eyes from Christina. Thank you, Christina. So I am overall pretty pleased with this little guy. The yarn is unknown stuff that's been in my stash for forever. It's 2 strands of acrylic held together, one fuzzy robin's egg blue color, and then one mint green color that's not a fuzzy. The robin's egg blue is like a novelty yarn. It's not fun fur, but it's definitely a different texture than just, you know, Red Heart Super Saver. And that's the little guy. That's what his tummy looks like all around. And a little face. So hopefully she likes it. If she doesn't, she is capable of knitting. She just doesn't like to do it. So I can direct her to other patterns. I did see some cute knitting patterns, But then I was like, I don't really want to knit a toy. And there were some cute crocheting patterns, but I didn't want to be tied down by a pattern. I didn't want to have to look up at things. I figured this would just be better. Okay, works in progress. Totally forgot where I was for a moment. I looked over at my works in progress and I was like, what am I talking about? I worked on the Trastero socks by Cookie A. My pattern is radically modified because I took out 8 stitches around, and that led to taking out 4 rounds per repeat. This is where I was last week. So it doesn't look like I made a ton of progress, but this is the front of the leg, and I did heel flaps and heel turns, picked up for the gusset, just started the gusset. So it's a decent amount of progress. It is not quite doubling what I had in the previous week, but it is a lot of work. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to talk about heels, knitting heels for a moment when you're doing 2 at a time, because I know that a lot of people, when they do 2 at a time, they struggle when they get to the heel. When I do 2 at a time for heel flaps, I knit the heel flaps 2 at a time back and forth. That way I know that they're the same amount of rows. Very important when you're doing that, do not set down the project when you get to this middle point right here. It's very easy to forget which row you just, or which side you were just working on if you were knitting or purling. And that leads to uneven heel flaps. So, you don't need to get all the way to the end of the needle if you just need to set it down for a second, but like knit the first or purl the first 3 stitches on that second half just so you know where you're going. And then once I finish the heel flap, I do 1 heel turn. I just do the first one and then pick up the gusset stitches and then go to the second one and pick up the gusset stitches. I was listening to a podcaster, I can't remember which one, but she may have been doing fish lips, kiss heels, or some other short row heel. I don't know, something else where you do short rows, but heel turns are short rows. So what she was doing is she was doing the first part of the short row and then slipping all those stitches to get to the second sock, doing that part of the short row, working her way back, and then slipping all of those stitches between the 2 sections again. I find with short row heels in general and with heel turns, because it's all short rowing, just do the first one first and then do the second one second. It's a lot more difficult to make them uneven when you're working the short rows because it's, you only have so many stitches that you can play with, whereas you can make a heel flap super extra long just by not paying attention, or 2 rows shorter or 4 rows longer, and it doesn't really look that long when you're just looking at it, but when you're wearing it, it wears differently. So that's my advice. If you're doing heel flaps, do them at the same time, the flap themselves, and then do the heel turn separately. If you're doing short row heels, do the first sock by itself, finish that whole thing off, and then go on to the second one. Don't bother slipping all those stitches in between. I don't find it necessary in order to make short row heels the same. Although if you do make a mistake on the first short row heel and you decide not to rip it out, write yourself a little note really quick, however you want, on a piece of paper. I have, in my phone, I email myself pictures using my phone instead of using Dropbox or something. So I already have that slot opening in messages. So I just type myself a little note in the messages if I don't have paper and pens. That way I know, because I'll remember that I made a mistake, but I won't remember what the mistake is. Anyway, this yarn, which is lovely and super bright, and I'm interested to see how the pooling is going to happen on the top of the foot through the gusset, because that changes the stitch count. It definitely changed when I was just working back and forth on the heel flap. This yarn is Nerd Girl Yarns, the O Snap base, in the colorway Back from Earth. Or Back to Earth. Can't remember. I have the tag, Back from Earth. And this is what Nerd Girl Yarns looks like. I also worked on my Typhoon shawl by Josh Ricks. Oh, and socks are knit on size US 2.25 millimeter needles for me pretty much always. Typhoon by Josh Ricks. I am in a short row section, so I can't open it up and show you everything. I wouldn't be able to anyway because it's getting too long to do that on my needles. But let's see, where is my, okay, so here's where I was last week. I was in the middle of the short row, so I finished this entire row over to here. And then I did the gray section, which is not short rows, and now I am in the last short row band that I have on the shawl. And then I have the gray band after that, and the shawl will be finished. So hopefully next week. I have been using this as my work knitting because it's just, the short row section is so easy to just pick up and do when I'm running breaks at Fuel Center, or if I take a break in the break room, which I don't usually do. I usually go out to my vehicle, but if I take a break in the break room, it's easy to pick up, and I don't have that much more to go for the short row section. It's only that much. So it should go by fairly quickly. Yeah. The yarn that I'm using is 716 Knit Solo Silky, which is a merino silk single. And the colors are, gray is Josh Can't Overdye Black, and then the stripe is a Clan Tartan of Badness. And the camera's not picking up how gorgeous this is, but it's super, super pretty. I'm excited to wear it. This week has decided that it is in fact summer, not autumn, but last week it was cold and rainy and lovely. Oh, it was so perfect. So this will be perfect for when it decides to go back to that. And I'm working this on US size 5, 3.75 millimeter needles. Have I been telling you size 7 for this? Because on my blog show notes, side note, not really important, but I can't find my podcast notebook today. The one with all of my show notes in it, so I had to use a different notebook, which meant that I went on to the show notes from last week to copy down and make sure I had everything that I needed. And it said that I was working this on a size 7, which I'm definitely not. I'm working on a size 5. I probably just typed it wrong because I'm working my sweater on a size 6 or something, and I was working something else on a 7. My mom's cowl, I was working on a size 7. So since I was working on all of that at the same time, I probably just got confused. Anyway, sorry about Mara trying to break into my room. If she was really trying, she would just unlock the lock. It's very easy to unlock it from the outside. You just kind of like turn the thing with your thumb, like press your thumb against the locking mechanism and turn it, which was good when the owners put those in because, you know, they have small children and small children lock doors and you need to be able to open it. But my small children have figured out how to unlock the door to my craft room, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, the last thing that I was really actively working on, I did pick up some spinning, but not enough to show you. I'm going to take new photos of all of my spinning projects just so I have like a start date. I have been spinning. I picked it up a little bit this week, which was really exciting because I really, really like spinning. I just don't make the time for it. But I'm going to take pictures today so that next week I can show you some actual progress. So the last thing, I am doing a design and I don't know if it's going to work. So instead of using the actual yarn for the actual design, which is fingering weight, I am using some worsted weight to see if the concept will work. And this is just the very beginning. Gabriel asked me forever ago if I would make him a shawl out of orange yarn. So this is going to be for him. Even though his new favorite color is red, he asked for orange and he's getting orange. So yeah, this is the start of it. The yarn is Orange You Glad. That's the colorway. It's the Box Office worsted base from Leading Men Fiber Arts, and I'm working on US size 7. So none of this is what the actual pattern will be, but other than like the shape start thing, seeing if it's working out. So I don't know how much of this I'll be showing in the next week or so, or month or so, I mean, as I work out the pattern. I don't know. I don't know how much I'll be showing, but that's the beginning of Gabriel's shawl, and you'll see it when it's finished. Well, you'll see it finished at some point in the future, I guess is more accurate to say. I worked on my beekeeper's quilt, so the hexapuffs. These, let's see, these two are the ones that I had finished last week that I couldn't find to show you, so they're celebratory. I've decided I'm gonna make most of the ones that I'm working on right now celebratory until I am fully caught up with all of the celebratory hexapuffs I'm supposed to make, because I really do like the idea of having a celebratory hexapuff in the blanket for every project that I have finished since I started the blanket. I just think that's fun. Even though I probably won't go through and count them all out, Gabriel really likes the celebratory hexapuffs too, so I think it's more important to make sure that they're all in there than make sure that I have all of the hexapuffs, like one a day sort of thing. So these two are from last week. I think they're both yarns from Haley. Not 100% sure, but I think so. Then I have hexapuffs from Yarn from Allison. This is O-Loops quarter round in the Malfoy Manor colorway. Oh, sorry, I was looking down and not looking at the screen. This is Cyborg's Craft Room Asacolate in Orange You Happy, it's pink. Sock Bunny Studios in Clearwater Beach. Oh, that's, you can't see that. That's a much prettier color than it's showing up. And still on the needles, but I'm counting it as finished because all I have to do for these is, normally I Kitchener them, but I can't find any of my needles. So I'm using a 3-needle bind off, which I've done for, you know, several of the hexapuffs in the blanket. It doesn't really matter. You can't really tell the difference once it's in, but this one right here is O-Loops Donegal Tweed in Gingerbread Latte. So that's really pretty. I'm not turning these sorts inside out. Like things that are tonal or look fine with the garter showing, not garter, reverse stockinette showing, I'm turning those ones inside out. And the ones that I like better this way, I'm not. So that's why this one's not. And then I have 2 others. So I did 6 this week, which brings my total up to 385. This is Yarn from Haley. And this one that I am about to 3-needle bind off, it's already stuffed. This one's not stuffed yet. This is Leading Men Fiber Arts in the Sprightly Endeavors colorway. I also finished a barn raising square. This one is the Osterman step. It's whatever I made Gabriel's Christmas socks out of. And I'm going to get up and show you something really quick. Hold on. When I started this square, it was late at night and I just needed, I needed something to work on for about 15 minutes. And all of my other things required too much brain power. So I grabbed some needles and I started the square. In the morning, I realized that I had picked up size 1 needles instead of size 2. So for the fingering weight barn raising squares, which is the majority of my squares, I think I have 1 or 2 sport to worsted weight squares in there. But for all the fingering weight ones, I've been using size 2 needles. Well, this is knit on size 1, and this is knit on size 2. I don't know if you can tell. I think you can visually see the gauge difference. I definitely like knitting them up on the 2 better because they knit up faster. I have fewer rounds to do when I do it that way. And I think I like the fabric of the two more also. It's a little more airy. I don't mind this one, and I'm not pulling it out. And I'm actually glad that I did it on size 1s because I had to do more rounds, which meant I got almost the entire stripe sequence in this square because it's a really long stripe sequence. It's not that important. It's just that's what happened. I knitted on a smaller needle. So if I knit it on a smaller needle in the future, I'm not going to freak out because the gauge for my squares is not consistent since I'm using more than just fingering weight. Mostly fingering weight, but some other weights are in there, sport and DK and worsted for sure. What else? What else? Oh, I have new things and they're very exciting, and I'm still not showing you what Josh sent me. So you'll have to wait until next week for that. But the first thing is really, really exciting. I was getting ready to make myself some breakfast and I saw the UPS guy pull up. That's the brown truck, right? FedEx is a white truck. I don't remember which truck is which, but anyway, brown truck pulled up in front of my house. And that's strange because we almost never get anything delivered by UPS. And I saw him pull up and I went about whatever I was doing, making breakfast. I think I was making hot chocolate. And then I saw him walking up, so I stopped what I was doing and I went to the door, but he didn't even ring the doorbell. He just set the package outside and I was like, okay. So I grabbed it and I assumed it would be something for Steve because I haven't ordered anything. And then I saw that it was for me and I was like, what is going on? Do you recall when I went to Michigan and went to a Linkin Park concert last year? Well, my sister's friend and I got into a conversation about things that I missed from Michigan, and I miss the food. There are restaurants in Kentucky, in my area, that serve different ethnicities. I just don't know where they are, so I don't go to them, which is really, really sad because I knew where all sorts of things were. Anyway, I missed the food, and he was like, oh, have you been to this bakery? And I said, no, I've never been there because it's in a city that is not near where I was from. So I had just never been there. He was like, oh, well, their pastries are amazing and you need to go. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't know when I'm going to be back in Michigan. So he said he would send me some. And I've been waiting mostly patiently and not nagging him very much at all. Probably like 3 or 4 times in the past year. And finally, he sent them. So this is what I got. And they're so good. They're super good. So good that this package was full when I got here this morning. And Mara and I ate that much. And it is only through extreme willpower that I have not eaten more. Because they are delicious. Oh, even smelling them. They smell of dough and honey and just reminds me of being little, being at home. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so good. So if you're in the area, if you're in Dearborn, Michigan, I highly recommend checking out Shatila. I don't even know if that's how to pronounce it. But they do have a website, www.shatila.com, and they're delicious. I'm probably going to have another piece after I finish recording. I have another thing to show you. There's going to be crinkling probably because there's tissue paper. I participated in the Super Summer Spin Along, I think that's what it was called, in the Mandobug Crafts group, and I won this beautiful braid of fiber. Does it look like the beach to you? Because it looks like the beach to me. Okay, so I enjoy looking at beaches, like through pictures, but I am not a beach person. Like, I don't enjoy sitting at the beach. I like swimming at the beach and building sandcastles and things, but I don't like just sitting at the beach. I'm not like a beach bum type person. I don't have a problem with anybody who is, but I'm just saying, I am not that person. But anyway, I love beachy colors like this with the oceany blue and the sand. And this is from Simply Homespun. And there's the Etsy shop. Can you see it? Whole bunch of letters and things. Nope, it'll be in the show notes. And Kim Hines is the dyer. This is, I don't remember. I think that she said it was BFL. Amanda said on her podcast. I'm not positive. It's not labeled. I don't have a label in here anyway, but it's really pretty. And I will look forward to spinning that sometime in the probably not very near future, but someday I will be spinning that and it will be lovely. I finished reading, audiobooking Voyager by Diana Gabaldon, and that was very good. I immediately put the fourth one on hold. I put it on hold before I even finished Voyager. I enjoyed Voyager immensely. It's definitely better than the second one. If you're struggling through the second one, make it through and then try the third one, because the third one is much better, I think. And I'm still reading Dorian Gray. I'm on page 46, I think, and I was told that 50 is where it would get, really draw me in. So I'm close to that point. And it almost always happens that way. Making it through the first part of any book is a struggle, and then I hit that point, usually 100 pages in, but Dorian Gray is a very short book, so hopefully 50 pages in, where I'm just like, okay, I just want to read this all the time. So hopefully that will happen. And I have a podcast recommendation for you today. I watched the first episode of Infinite Creations with Lakshmi. She and Stephanie had intertwined stitches, but they just haven't been able to get together recently, so she decided to do a podcast on her own and see how that worked out. It was very enjoyable. She had a lot of content, and go give her a check out, especially if you liked intertwined stitches. But even if you never watched that, go check it out. It's on YouTube. Link will be in the show notes. That's all I have for you this week. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye.